Welcome to Stronger Than Yesterday, the podcast where we focus on becoming just a little bit better every single day. How's it going, guys? Welcome to Stronger Than Yesterday. It's me, it's Rich. Hope everybody is well and that you are finding amazing success in whatever it is that you are doing. I hope that opening was as cheesy as I could possibly get it. Oh, because that adds some more brie to that. Cheesy as fuck. That's the way podcasts generally are, aren't they? When you start your little chat, make it cheesy, get a little hook, all that kind of shit. Anyway, I hope I'm delivering on that particular part of things. Today, I had a great opportunity to catch up with someone who you're going to get to know very, very well, actually. Dr. Stevie Potter, dentist, GB triathlete, cyclocross enthusiast, general ball-buster of mine, quite frankly, and my business partner in all of this. And I thought, you know what, easiest way to introduce you to Stevie, because, you know, she's part of all of this, she's part of this particular journey, is to record one of our Monday morning sessions. So we catch up generally every Monday about 9:30 for an hour, just to kind of shoot the breeze, but also just kind of coach each other, work out where we're going, what we're doing, what sort of content we need to create, and just, you know, generally put the worlds to rights a little bit. And in this particular one, I thought it was quite funny. I record most of them anyway. But Stevie has kindly given me permission to share most of what we talked about with you. And on the little heads up, as the next podcast episode, she's interviewing me. I'm getting a grilling. So it's actually quite nice to be interviewed on my own podcast. So that's coming up in, I think, episode 5, probably. But, you know, we'll get to all of that. But for now, let me introduce you to Stevie Potter.
Good morning. Oh, sorry. I nearly thought you weren't going to do it. There was this part of me that was like, oh, maybe he's like grown out of it.
Maybe he's grown up.
No, I didn't think that. I thought maybe he's grown out of that particular art.
No, never. I read there's a good quote. It's like, if you've not grown up by the time you're 50, you don't have to.
Oh, it's like sort of like a grandfather clause, or like if you haven't paid your student loan off, you don't have to pay it off.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. If you're still a childish dick at 50, then you're still a child.
Continue to be a childish dick forever.
Yes, definitely. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely cream crackered. I did racing yesterday. Got on the podium yesterday, so that was good. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, it's my first one in cyclocross. I'm really pleased. I think it was mainly because some good people didn't turn up, but you know, you still got to beat everyone else there, right?
You only beat the people in front of you or behind you.
Exactly. But so, you know, it's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
But, earrings. They look like Amy's wears those.
Yeah, they came from the same company. They are the old wearing. I got them in sale. I can't remember what was wrong with them.
They're from Kat.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just bought a necklace for the next dental conference I go to, because I bought myself a new outfit, which I don't often do. I bought myself the Chopsy necklace because I thought that was really appropriate. And I was like, yes, that's for me, that is. That
is very appropriate. So, yeah. I saw Kat a couple of weeks ago. No, actually, it was a week on Saturday. And, yeah, it was a bit embarrassing, actually.
Why? Oh, because... God, what did you do?
Oh, fucking hot. It was an open, like a artist open day thing.
Yeah.
And they say I hadn't adjusted to my diet particularly well. So we got to her unit, and I really needed a loo. And it wasn't pleasant. It really wasn't. So
now the price of Amy's jewellery just doubled.
And Percy threw me under the bus, like massively threw me under the bus. Lana and I, they were sort of walking downstairs. And, oh, what's that smell? And Percy's like, oh, Dad had a massive poo and it stinks. Right.
Thanks, Percy. You were always my favourite child.
Yeah, thanks, kid. Yeah, literally threw me under the bus. So, yeah, I was a bit embarrassed, but has
well.
taught me the value of fibre.
Yeah, maybe she should make a new necklace for you that says stinky.
Yeah, that's probably big jobs.
Yeah, or like we'll get you those like emoji poo earrings, just the one.
Yeah. So that was But anyway, yes, they could suit you very good.
Well, I thought the thing is about Zoom. What I've learned is that I can come back from the gym still in my gym clothing, but if you put earrings in, it looks like you meant to look like this.
They made an effort.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh, that's just how Stevie goes about her day, and I'm like, no, I've still got these on, but it's fine. So it's like I'm kind of wearing normal clothes. That's what I've learned. Earrings and or a necklace for the win.
Yeah, normal clothes, just small.
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake of putting actual like makeup on Saturday night, and I'm still getting bits of that off because I don't put makeup on my face. I'm like, oh, I don't get that on. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, I will make up on Friday.
You will make up on Friday. Was it Halloween?
Halloween, yeah. Face paint.
Okay. What did you go as?
I look like I always go as a dead biker, and kind of sort of worked. I just like me with basically white paint over my face. So
dead.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good fun, and I drank too much tequila. And then decided that actually I didn't really enjoy drinking.
I think the thing is that for me, it's always the aftermath, and it's not just that you have like a hangover. It's just you just lose a day and just feel a bit shit and you're tired and it just doesn't. And like then all the food goes out the window and you don't train. Like I just don't. I had a glass of wine on Saturday night and that's cool. I'm good with that. Drink the odd glass of wine at home, but that's it.
What was interesting though is I bounced back a lot quicker than I have done in the past.
Well, yeah, that's because you're looking after yourself right now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, more resilient to the and also I didn't mix drinks or anything like that. It was just like drank tequila. Because it's like, Dwayne Johnson drinks tequila, Jason Momoa drinks tequila, I think, or vodka, one or the other. But they just stay in, because obviously they don't want the calories from beers and split mixers and shit like that. So they just drink that, which is cool. But I'm like, I like tequila, but, I think while I'm on this mission, I think it's easier just to not drink.
Yeah, but I think the thing you just say to yourself is, like I said, I think your issue is you always want to set like a rule. I don't think you need to set a rule. Because the moment you have a rule, you're like, now I want to break the rule. So,
yeah.
So the psychology is stupid because you're like, I set this rule. And then 2 weeks later, you'll be like, nah, I went out and I broke the rule and this is why. And I'm justifying it and I don't care what you think. And I'm like, nobody thinks anything about it. You set the fucking rule. Nobody cares if you fucking break it. So rather than set a rule in the first place, you can just acknowledge that you didn't enjoy drinking and they'd be like, I'm probably not going to do that again.
Yeah, probably wouldn't do that again for a bit. But no, it's fun. It was just a bit of an internal sort of, what's the word?
Epiphany?
No, yeah, not an epiphany.
Milder than that.
Acceptance. Yeah, just an acceptance. But other things are right. Yeah, so 4 weeks. This is the start of week 4. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving myself a little bit of pat on the back. One is, this is the longest I've been consistent at anything around health and fitness.
Good.
And I think that is because there's been a little bit of a mental shift. Mm-hmm. And the mental shift is I have accepted. It's acceptance. So that, because, it's easy for me to go to the gym, lift some weights and feel bad.
Yeah.
Right. Because you immediately see the result. Shoulders go up, biceps get bigger, everything's like, I'm like, sweet. Because it pumps it full of water and blood. And then immediately it's like, I look great. I don't have to worry about it now. But that story doesn't play out anymore. Because, over 50, family history of diabetes, dad died of a heart attack, you carry your visceral fat score is 16.5, your body fat percentage is 28. So yes, you're carrying lots of lean muscle, but the story doesn't play anymore, So it's like, okay, you got to keep going, which is cool.
Yeah, you can strip it down.
Yeah, and then the acceptance that I've mentally prepared myself to not see any single results, any movement at all, metabolically for 12 weeks.
Yeah,
that was it. And then you're playing a different game, and the game is mental. It's not physical, which is cool because it's like, okay. I often say, most things need time to change. Well, things need time to change. So you start a marketing campaign, it's not going to start really working for 12 weeks. So taking that head mindset, going with it, it's like, right, all I have to do, the success criteria for me is get out of bed, go to the gym. When I'm in the gym, the little mini wins in the gym are stop looking at my phone for what's the next exercise I've got to do while I'm still doing the current one. So
don't be doing that.
Yeah, I just was like, what's going on? And then because as soon as that happens, you kind of lose your enthusiasm for the one that you're doing because either the one you're doing next is horrible and you're worrying about it, or you really like it and you want to get on with it. So it's like, no, that goes to the side, and then just focus on doing this rep. 8 of these, then a break, then I've got another 8, and it's quite cool getting back into that headspace. And it's just discipline.
Well, what you just described there is the process of the effectiveness of planning, because it takes decision fatigue out of it, because it's there on your phone, you're not having to think about it, which allows you to then be present in what you're doing, which allows you to do your best work, which allows you to be more productive and effective, which allows you to get to your goal. Like you just described a goal setting and activation process.
Thank you. And also it allows you to be slightly smug, because it's shifting, isn't it? Because if I'm going to get up at 4:30, be in the gym for 5, then I'm putting myself through that thoroughly unpleasant experience. It's got to be worthwhile.
Yeah, and also I think, so I always say, like, you don't need to get the whole, like, getting up early thing. I'm like, look, you can do whatever you want at whatever time of day. But the reason that a lot of people find the win in getting up early is because it's kind of swallowing the frog, isn't it? But you're also, so you're doing the thing that is sometimes the hardest to do, but you're also doing it and then going, oh yeah, it was gross, but now I have an intense amount of smug zoneness to get me through the rest of the day. Because whatever happens the rest of the day, you've done the thing.
Oh, I'm living in the smug zone.
Living in the smug zone. Yeah. I love, I mean, I didn't go until later today, but yeah, well, a Monday is difficult because I have a race on a Sunday. So I moved us to 9:30 because I'm like, I need more time to get back, get breakfast. I've got to walk the dog before I go. Like, I need time to wake up. Like this morning was one of those days where the alarm clock went off and Steve was like, buddy, the alarm clock. And I was like, all right, okay, I'm there. All right, I got it. Go get tea. I'm ready.
Yeah. So I was up earlier than you today.
Oh, 100%. My alarm goes off at 5. I make a rule that we cannot be out of bed before 5.
Yeah.
Because we can't physically get enough sleep to justify getting up for 5 because we can't go to bed in the early.
I think there's going to be it's a balance point, right? I'm not intending to be up at 4:30 every single morning, but
no, I mean, I think if I wake up at 5 and then I've realised what I need is I actually go to bed with this switched off on the bedside table, but what I need is I wake up, the alarm goes off at 5 and I'm out of bed somewhere between 5:30 and 5:45 most days because I've done half an hour of just a little bit of doom scrolling on my phone with a cup of tea. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that. Everyone that's like, oh, you shouldn't do that first thing in the morning. I'm like, you know what? It's fine because it's an easy start to my day. I'm not stressed by it. I'm just what everyone's doing.
You do you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I we'll see what happens later on because I'll be probably about, I've got a bloody workshop at 7:00 tonight and I'll be like, oh no, summon all the energy, be like, yeah, let's go. And then afterwards,
yeah, 9:00 is a great time to be in bed.
Yeah. But what I have said is just getting into changing mental habits. So not if I wake up before my alarm, I get up.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wake up half an hour before my alarm, and I'm like, oh, guess I've got another half an hour in bed. The next thing you know, it's just like you gone into another sleep cycle,
Yeah.
and just trying to prise your eyelids open because your alarm's gone off. So it's like this morning I woke up at 4:19.
Oh yeah, no, see, if for me, I'd be like, I can probably fit in another sleep cycle before I need to get up then.
Yeah, but I was like, no, I'm getting up. Just partly actually because I wanted to see what it was like.
Well, the other thing is, I love getting up early in the morning. If you've ever taken the dog out at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, it is glorious because no one else is around. It's absolutely lovely. But also, if you are not working on a schedule as such, it doesn't really matter because you can get up in the morning, and I reckon you're like me because I reckon you can probably nap at any time of day that you need to.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I think if I had a non-scheduled job, I would get up at 5 and I would do all my shit, and then I would probably nap at like 2, and then I would come back to work at 3.
It's part of your naval training
to be able to nap.
to be able to sleep wherever it is, next to a gun or an engine. Something, so right, half nap.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was working in Ireland, when I had to do like a trip to Ireland every couple of weeks, it was early, so that was like a 4 a.m. up to get the first flight across to Dublin, and I would literally just get on the plane, sit down in my seat, and just be asleep. Tiny, for about an hour, really land. I'm like, right, cool. I got really annoyed because the plane was delayed on the tarmac by 45 minutes, and I didn't even notice. So I woke up, I was like, right, are we here? I'm like, why am I still in London? I was like, I haven't even left yet. Fuck's sake. So it's just quite disgruntled.
Because I've used all of my sleep up.
I've used my sleep power, so now I'm going to have to stay awake over the RSC.
So I can sleep for any length of time in a car, plane, not a train, but transport is the one for me because I got travel sick. I just train myself to sleep. So I get on any form of transport, fall asleep. And I'll sleep for hours. If we've driven to Scotland, I can be asleep from here to Scotland. Like it just 8 hours in the day, had a full night's sleep. I'll do it. I'll wake up periodically, lunch, stops like that. I'll sleep the whole way.
Yeah.
No.
So, are you tired of the algorithm-driven marketing madness? Do you want to break free and get real results? Then listen up, because I've got something for you. Richard, an award-winning coach, author, and entrepreneur, is on a mission to empower small business owners just like you. At imrcs.com, you'll find unique coaching methodologies and transformative programs are designed to help you achieve success and freedom. Here's what you're going to find. Real people, real stories, and real solutions. It's time to crush those obstacles and take your business to the next level. Remember, it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart with the best tools and the best support. So don't wait. Head over to imrcs.com and start your journey to success today.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because actually, obviously, my Facebook has been on fire since the budget. Don't know about yours.
Tell me about it. What's going down?
So basically, there's just the one post that I remember seeing was about how much it was going to cost for various different dental practices for employees and stuff. And there was calculations that were between £650 per month per employee to something ridiculous like this guy. I was 20 grand that it's going to cost him over whatever because he had big business. And I'm it's funny because there's so much. I get it. It's a really horrible position to be in. And as somebody that, I don't currently employ anybody. And I think the owner operators do have an advantage in the up hand in that point. But it's really interesting because my approach to that would be, okay, this is the deficit that I have. How am I going to close that? Because everyone's kind of panic about it. I'm yeah, but at the end of the day, loads of other businesses are always already putting out now that, be prepared for price rises. I don't know why that suddenly becomes something you can't do in healthcare and stuff in dentistry.
I think the part of the problem with pricing in healthcare is this very British reluctance to profit from health because it's seen as being disingenuous.
Well, I think because we're so used to having the NHS, like the fact that even if you're an NHS patient, you have to pay at the dentist, like the disgruntlement is real. And I'm like, buddy, you're not even covering the cost. Like what they pay us and what you pay us doesn't even cover the cost. Like that, what I receive does not cover the cost of your care. Like just so you know. But it's interesting because I've seen a few different viewpoints on it. And like, there's one guy who was like, look, you know, we put dentists getting paid loads, this one, you know, and we should it's just ridiculous that we're moaning about that. And I'm like, right, so what, people should go backwards? Like people have committed years of their life to doing this and delivering a really, really specific service. And yet when you go down the road to the arts and crafts shop or the milliner or whatever, I love that those are the two businesses that just pop in my head. The milliner and the arts and crafts shop.
So where in the world does Stevie live?
The local milliner. But like people go, oh no, you know, you must be struggling, and they want to give them the money, like, you know, as much as they can afford. But then others seen as like, how dare you want any extra money? And therefore it's kind of looking like it's coming back to hit like the frontline people because they just go, well, we'll just pay you less. And I'm like, anyone. So what's happened, I mean, even people I've spoken to who are employed, who are in big organizations, they're just seeing that kind of like wage gap close between lower paid to higher paid people.
But do you think that the shift in attitudes of people, employees, because there's been a big shift, I think, in some of the approaches of businesses. So I'm hearing lots about people first, right? And not put our, customer first. It's our people first, our customer second. Because if our people are happy, then we deliver a much higher quality service to our customers. Therefore, they benefit. So if we look after them first, customer wins. Now, that philosophy and dentistry are totally opposite.
Yeah.
Because people last. It always comes across as a people last strategy. So, and this is just my observation, right? I don't work in dentistry. I've never worked in a clinic, but it's just my pure observation, which is, you go to see the dentist. You build up a trusted relationship with that particular dentist, whether it's most generally an associate, and it would be, I suppose, as a patient, I'd be quite disappointed to hear that, they're at the bottom of the pile, that they're being squeezed, that they've come out of university with quite a lot of debt and now actually more debt because obviously the price of education is going up. And yet on the other flip side of it, they're going to a career that is pushing their earning capability down to protect the revenue being generated by the business. Now, I totally get it, right? If you're owning a business and you're running a business, you've got to look at the numbers. But there does come a point where you've kind of got to look after your people as well. And if that means, right, my customers, our clients, in order for us to deliver a higher quality service that they're used to, I've got to put prices up because I want to protect my people. That's not a conversation that appears to be happening. What the conversation appears to be happening is, how can I maintain the same level of quality at the same price? And the only way you can do that is someone's got to take a hit in the pocket. And if owner's not going to take a hit in the pocket and the client's not going to take a hit in the pocket, the only people left are the associates. Yeah.
It's just a weird one because I was like thinking about when we were saying about entrepreneurial mindsets and like building an entrepreneurial course. And I'm like, working in an industry where nobody's got any business training. Like, I mean, obviously I work in a part of a corporate. And so the difference between that and working in like an independent practice is massive. And like often I actually think it's quite positive because there's no kind of pussyfooting around pretending that you're not trying to make revenue for a business. Like that doesn't exist. Like we're a business. We are here to make money. Like we are here to deliver an amazing new service. We are 100% here to do that. And these are all the ways that we do it. And these are the things we need. But we also need to make money on that. But I'm just like, the interesting thing, like for me, being like coming out into that, being a self-employed person, doing all the work that I've done with entrepreneurs and then like as a business owner, the mindset shift to that has always been that you need to understand exactly, you need to understand what your numbers are, what your overheads are. But then sometimes you go, right, well, I can't afford to charge any less. Like I've always charged a premium for whatever service I'm offering. And if I have to put that price up, what I then do is go, right, okay, I'm putting the price up. What's a really easy way I can just add value to the service without really, and there's loads of ways you can do that. And I think that's one of the massive things at the moment, like that people are missing. They're just looking at the bare bones of the numbers and stuff. And then like you say, instead of looking at the people and going, what value could we add? What more could we do? We're not doing that. Why aren't we doing that?
I mean, there's a lot of, I get there's a lot of pressure, right? There's a lot of economic pressure out there. There's a lot of whining. And, we've got a new government and, they're robbing us. Like the old one didn't, right? They were great. So, it doesn't matter. It's kind of two sides of the same coin, right? It doesn't matter which government you've got in place. The easiest lever to pull is taxes. It's just which ones do you do without pissing so many people off? They've decided to go for the businesses this time. And that's essentially what it is, because they've squeezed the population to the point where their tax load is so high that they can't really tax, working people, as they have said. So we'll tax people who don't work, which are business owners, because you don't work business owners.
No, you sit on the sofa with your feet up, absorbing money from your business, which
exactly. Topping up the tan. Whilst, this winter...
From your beach in Barbados, I can tax you.
God, I know, I know it's a hard life, right? It's terrible. But, so they're loading national insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I always have the same philosophy with all of these things, right? Which is there's very little you can do about the macro, right? But all you can do is your approach to the problem. And I realized earlier this year that you're looking at people talk about competition and, look at my competition. You actually need to broaden your horizon on who your competition is, because it's not necessarily just about competing against other people in your sector. You're competing against people's definition of what's a necessity and what's luxury.
Yeah.
The thing with dentistry is it only becomes a necessity when people are in pain.
100%.
Right.
Like it's literally seen, I think, because of the price point and because of the fact that I can say you need a filling and and we'll make it beautiful. You'll be like, yeah, but it's not hurting. So for me, it's a necessity for you. But for you, that's a luxury because it's currently not a pain point.
Yeah. And obviously when people are in pain, then the problem has got big enough for it to cause pain to the human body. So if they treated it as a necessity rather than a luxury, they wouldn't have reached that point. So this is why, things like payment plans that you've talked about, subscription, all these different things that make it more accessible for people to go to the dentist. I'll be honest, right? I don't have a problem with going to the dentist. I'm just fucking lazy. Right?
You also have to drive a long way. I'm
just fucking lazy. You're miles away. And actually, what I say a problem with the dentist is, I go to see people I like and I trust. So I'll have to book an appointment in. You just reminded me. But it's about time. So it wouldn't be that. It's only been about 15 years, I suppose.
I smell your breath from here, so you should probably book it.
It's fine. Anyway, no one needs to know about my dental hygiene. But yeah, so it's, I think, just the world's got to start to people, adjust itself a little bit to a new reality, and that new reality is whether you like it or not, healthcare. Yes, I think it will be free at the point of entry for an emergency, for catching you up, sending you out, and then you're into the NHS system, which I do actually believe will improve. I think, that's the one of the problems having a Labour government is that it will improve, because that's essentially what they're kind of geared up to do. They're very honest looking at social services and that kind of stuff, whereas the Tories are not.
But on a note, they did bring in the current dental system, the Labour, that's a Labour policy, the current dental system that doesn't work, just so
okay. All right. Well, they fucked up.
I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not getting into like a blue-red debate. That's
I don't. No. I don't. I don't do politics. I don't do politics.
No.
I am politically agnostic, right? This is where I've decided that my life is going to be. I don't get upset over anyone, any politician, right? I don't get upset because if you're Tory, Labour, Trump, Kamala Harris, I don't get upset. Do you know why I don't get upset?
Because everyone is a bit shit and everyone is
I think you're all cunts.
Okay, well, I mean, that was stronger than I was going to say. Like,
there's no, you know, there's no. It's just, I say, two sides to the same coin, right? And it's yes, it's cynical, but I'm allowed to be cynical because I'm.
No, but I mean, I would approach it from a far more positive point of view. So this is my point of view.
Okay.
Like everybody, I look at it and I go, it's not about the party or the whatever. Like it's literally about like the actions that you take, and you're always going to take actions that are positive for some people and negative for other people. But if you're one of those people that's like die hard, you're wrong, you're this, you know, like I'm this till I die. I'm like, okay, well that's short-sighted because now you're failing to acknowledge the struggles of whatever the other side of the population is that's suffering here. And I, you know, you should. And whatever position we're in, we should always be able to have empathy for that. And if you can't do that, then you're not doing your best as a human. Like do better. Do better.
No, I get it. You know, empathy and understanding, and of course, you know, I have all of those things. But what I don't have is I'm not going to get viscerally upset about it. Okay. You know, because they all make mistakes. They're all reasonably self-serving, because ultimately that's what their job. Their job is to remain in power, and they start off with being nice, and then actually one thing that's interesting with this Labour government is they started off quite aggressively. Actually, they've gone hard early. So we'll see where it plays out. But, you know, back to the sort of point is like from a human being perspective, I like to keep, you know, my mind focused on what I have to do to be able to deliver for myself, for my clients, for my family, and work within what's been created. And me getting pissy about whether they've raised national insurance, it's like, well, okay, I don't have that as a problem, so there's no point me getting upset about it. You know, if they start coming for my car, if they start going about how, you know, vehicles over the age of 40 take it to 50 years old before I stop paying for my MOT and my tax, then we've got a problem.
I mean, I think that's going to happen. My brother drives like the oldest Honda Civic in the world. It was gifted to him by a neighbour and had done like, you know, 100 miles because she'd driven it to the shop and back once a week. And we were like, oh, you probably don't pay anything for your tax or anything. He was like, no, they raised that. They raised that threshold. So I've got another 5 years. And then he's like, but I feel like I'll get there and then it would be another 5 years. So I'll probably just get a new car by then.
I'm getting there. I think my VAT's got another, 1989. So yeah, 2029 is its year of becoming a historic.
Tantalisingly close.
Of a historic vehicle.
Is that when it officially becomes like a classic car?
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes a classic car and I don't have to pay tax or road tax or have it MOT'd. But if they do decide to move it, then I will sell it and get one that's older.
Because I mean, it frightens me the thought of yours not having an MOT. Like it's. When was the last time you went for an MOT with that thing and it didn't? Like it passed.
What, first time with no trouble?
Yeah.
Never.
Well, I'm
just always saying. Something. I'm not expecting it to pass next time flying colours. It's always be something.
Just saying.
But to be fair, you can also, you know, and I think you could and should have a vehicle inspection every year, regardless of whether you've got an MOT or not.
Not by you.
Not by me. Not by me. No. There's a really good meme though. It's like a photograph of Jesus looking concerned, and it's like Jesus watching me doing 90 in a van that I do my own maintenance on.
No, that's Jesus watching you do your own maintenance on that.
Oh no, I'm very. I'm safe when I'm working on it. I am very safe when I'm working on it. Anyway, so there's a lot going on in the world of dentistry.
No, it's just there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of like. Again, as somebody thinking about different business opportunities in the next 5 years, et cetera, like it's really interesting to be in this position and be like, it feels like I'm just about to start a board game of Monopoly and then someone just changed the rules a little bit. And it's fine because I still want to play. I just need to work out. Do you know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I look at it like when things change in policy or sometimes even circumstances, but you have someone you want to get. You just look at it like, well, I still want to play the game. I've got two choices. I can not play the game at all, and I can go off and do something else. Then that game is off the table. I never make it onto the board. Or I kind of go, oh, there was an extra rule I didn't know about there and whatever. So this has just changed my strategy and how I approach the game. Because there's going to be some interesting things about like people exiting businesses as well, like because of all the capital gains and stuff like this. They basically said there's a lot of people when they're selling up practices and things like that, like it's going to affect their retirement plans. So how's that going to impact them when they sell and things like that? So like acquiring businesses and selling is going to change. Maybe not massive.
Yeah, the whole M&A thing. I can't remember what the capital gains tax has gone up to.
No, it's gone up a lot. I can't remember what the exact statistics were.
I mean, that is a bit of a kick in the teeth if you're a bit further down the road. But again, for it to have a massive impact on you, your business is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, you might, the socialist in me is not in the slightest bit bothered. And there's a reason for that. And that's because there's been a fucking enormous wealth transfer over the last few years from the working and middle classes to the wealthy. And it's all gone through the stock market. It's all gone through S&P 500. It's all gone through the FTSE. It's all, where do they think that the money's coming from when, our stocks are increasing? Well, yeah, they're printing a lot of it, but there's been a massive wealth transfer.
Yeah.
And now, okay, you're going to have to start giving it back.
Yeah.
That's not wrong.
No, and I just think I look at it and I go, actually, I was like thinking about it this morning and I was like, wow, in some respects, there's like obviously a lot of, in the UK, I think we're a massive nation of like cottage industries and service providers, one like owner operator service providers who actually make this living. Like how many coaches do you know? How many, all these people that do individual things, like people baking out of their
lifestyle businesses, right?
Yeah, and actually, this is an opportunity. Like, and the trouble is that knowing, because we work with lots of those people, like they're always going to be the people that worry the most about it, even if it's not the problem that affects them, because they just worry and because they care, they're on their own, and you're vulnerable in that business sense because you don't always have like a sensible voice to be like, okay, let's just sit down and look at this rationally and help you do the numbers, But equally, those people are going to be like the least affected.
They're vulnerable, but they've been relatively untouched.
Yeah, which is quite nice because a lot of the people we work with is going to be like, okay, well, you don't actually need to worry too much about that because you're not, you're not in the realm where you employ like 10,000 people.
No, and then you've got resilience and all that built into it as well. So. Yeah. My message is always be aware of them, but don't let them spook you. And, pandemic, we got through that. Credit crunches, got through that. The recession after the pandemic, got through that. Brexit, TBC, that's the gift that keeps on giving. But, we've got... it's just me saying I'm not being political. I'm not going to enjoy this. I am going to put this out as a podcast because just so I want some fucking hate.
I don't think you said anything particularly divisive, though.
I've called all politicians.
I mean, that bit was pretty inflammatory. Otherwise, I think we've been very, very, very balanced. Just observed the facts and been like, okay, here's how to fix that.
Might edit that one. Well, I'll just edit the word. I'll just be.
Yeah, just put a beep in it. That would be like definitely better. I think, like, yeah. There's things happening in the world right now, and I don't think that maybe you should.
Yeah, no one will disagree with me. But the politicians will do it. But anyway, so there's a lot of shift going on, but I think I'm really optimistic actually about 2025 for a number of different reasons.
I'll give you one. Because everyone's had a shit 2024 and everyone's like, 2025, please come at me. Because I don't know one person that was like, 2024 was a great vintage.
2023 sucked fucking ass for me. It's been a 2 and a bit year process When did I start my meltdown? I can't remember exactly when it was.
I mean, I would say definitely over a year ago.
Oh, it was well over a year ago.
But it would be
I
before.
think it's been about an 18-month process, I think, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I did the whole. I'll be completely honest. I genuinely think, and I was suddenly just like, I'm just feeling great at the moment. And I was like, I think this is the tail end of everything that started for me 2019. I think I've had now
Wow.
5 years of feeling crap because I think just from like a job perspective, but then changing that and then obviously having the big whole like pandemic thing, almost
Mm.
you look back and you're like, it was a terrible, weird thing, but I wonder how it would have been different if we hadn't had that. Would I have had the same, would I have like bounced back quicker in terms of like my direction professionally?
Mm.
Or would I not? Or would I have only had like the series of epiphanies that I've had because I had that, all that, weird, wacky period? I don't know. But I feel like it's taken this long to get over that hurdle.
Mm.
Financially and professionally, because I'm still seeing that. And now
Yeah.
finally, oh yeah, no, okay, good. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, no one talks about the pandemic. No one talks about it anymore. It's like this thing that was just like, here's a 2 year period of time that just doesn't exist. It's like, it was The Sopranos and had the writer's strike in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, what they decided to do is rather than going back and trying to fill the gap, they just started it again 2 years later. So they've got 2 years where like no one has a fucking clue what happened in The Sopranos or the blip in Marvel movies. That's what we have experienced. So we don't talk about that. But yeah, it's interesting saying about that. I mean, I don't think mine is as long. I definitely started to check out a little bit of AE January 2023. I think.
Yeah. 2022 was like, did we have GSD 2022?
Yeah, because it's after the pandemic. The pandemic threw it threw my rhythm out massive because we did did events and it's great and I was made like 85% of my revenue from the events and actually really enjoyed that. And then
we were just doing more and more events then.
Yeah, and then you have to shift to being digital, which is okay, but I've not really been able to get the balance back. And partly because when you come out of sort of, the pandemic essentially fried me. Everyone else is like chilling out on lounges, drinking gin and tonics, furloughed. And I'm like working my fucking ass off. And then come out of the pandemic and I've still got to do the same thing. And I remember getting told by a friend of mine about, you need to watch yourself because you're going to burn out. And I'm like, burnouts for pussies. Burnout. I will see it. I will defend against it. And then
I'll just fight it.
I'll fight it. Yeah. I'll just scrap it. It'll be fine. I won't burn out. Yeah. And then it arrived and it was just like, ooh, this is new. I don't give a shit anymore about anything.
Yeah. I genuinely think like, I don't think I burned out in the same way, but that feeling where you're like, I don't give a shit because you're either in like, mine was because I was in the wrong environment, not for the things that I'm designed to be good at. And now like suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, environment's kicked off. Like, okay, cool. I'm actually good at lots of stuff and I'm going to deliver that now. So yeah, but you don't see it when you're like in it.
You don't, and you need other people to point it out to you, which they did, which was great. And then you got the process of healing and changing that and not doing anything or doing different things. And then my dad, and so it was a sequence of boots in the bollocks. And then come out the other side of it, and now it's just like, I'm coming into 2025 feeling great because metaphorically my balls don't hurt anymore.
Well, I also wonder whether, like, on a physical
feeling
level,
has gone.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I had some injuries and stuff that stopped me competing, and like
you're back because you ran, you were like Montreal, and then
died. Well, I was still struggling with. I had just a weird, unlucky series of events going up to Montreal. I twisted my ankle like a few weeks out from that, which is the same hole I fell in walking the dog the other day. I fall in it all the time, and it's like it's seen me once, and now it's just coming for me, and I just like, fuck off, you stupid fucking hole. Like, and I can't see it. It's in the grass, and it's on one of my favourite walks, and I fucking fall in it all the fucking time. Anyway,
I would have been putting a little bamboo cane in it.
It's like on a public footpath on like someone's private land. I just like can't even put a flag in it. Maybe I should. Just going to take a picture of it and tell everyone about it in the village. But yeah, then I had all that back stuff, and they were like, oh, take a step back from everything, just try and repay yourself. And I just detrained because it just took so long to get better because it was just awful. And then what happened after that? Oh, then I had that terrible summer this year with like illness and stuff this year. That was pretty bad. So I just feel like every time I was like, get back up and be like, yeah, I'm on the horse again. And they'd be like, no, you're not. Push you on.
Yeah. So you're going into 2025, fingers crossed, fit, healthy.
Yeah, but this is the point I was making, is that then when you get back to doing the stuff, like feeling like, oh yeah, actually physically I can go and attack stuff. Like today I'm massively tired, but I feel great about it because I'm back doing the stuff that I'm good at, that I love. And the way that channels into, like, you will know this because you're back in the gym fucking smashing it. Rich is in the 5 a.m. club now.
4:30 a.m. club this morning. No, yeah. But you're right.
It just flows into everything else, doesn't it?
It does, but it's maintaining. It's for me, the problem is always consistency. Always will be consistency, and part of the consistency is lack of a clear goal. We talk about this. If you haven't got a clear goal, you'll drift. And for me, on the fitness side of things, the fitness journey of it is I've not really had the clear idea of what I want to look like, or I've played it safe. So I'm going to lose a little bit of this. The big goal in this one is 15% body fat. That's that's down 15% from where I was. That's a lot. That's to achieve that it's a lot of work. It's a year's worth of work. And I think playing it bigger has actually not overwhelmed me. It's actually fired me up more because I know that to achieve it, I've got to go for it. Half measures aren't going to work anymore. I want to lose 5% body fat. I'll lose a couple of kilos. For me, it was always like, I'll get from 117 to 110. That's fucking easy. You can, have a dump does a lot of that.
Yeah, you know about that.
Yeah, have a big shit. That's 5 kilos done.
Somewhere public.
See, people out there like me have ever weighed yourself before and after a dump. It's going to be impressive. So it's like, let's see how much that was. Like, wow, it's 1.4 kilos.
What was it? Peter Kay did that sketch. This is getting to Weight Watchers and like, well done, Sharon, you've lost a pound. Lost a pound, shit a pound.
Yeah.
She's one of my favourite sketches of all time.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, so, and knowing that, so from the physical point of view, I always feel happier. It's an identity shift, There's a lot. We're talking a lot about this identity shifting and that kind of stuff because that's what essentially needs to happen. That doesn't happen overnight, but it's consistency, and then you become a different human being. That's the whole point of all of it. And from the business point of view, it's similar to you. You're sort of, doing what you're good at, but me realizing and accepting that I was bored. I'd done it. I was finished with it. It was, and hindsight should have just evolved it beforehand, but I didn't. I kept going, and just completely lost interest with it.
Yeah.
And that was a mistake. I won't make a mistake. I won't make that same mistake again. So it's like, right, everything's got a shelf life. I'm not going to be running the same business in 20 years that I am now. Give it 3 years, 4 years. It's got to run in projects, in bursts. So it's like, what do I want to do? Don't know. I want to help people I want to help people go through the journey that I'm going through. So I'll record and to the journey that I'm on, because there's so much content out there for people who have been through it. Hey, this was me 2 years ago, and there's a photo of him fat, and this is me now. And then let me tell you about what's happened. It's like, well, hang on a minute. What would have been great is if I could see what was going while you're there, because that gives you much more depth and much more insight.
Yeah.
And so I'm essentially tracking that, recording the whole thing, evolving in public, if you want to, for want of a better phrase. And that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, and commercially. So the business, what we're working on, it's this combination of, yes, business is important, sales, marketing, operations, finance, but also there's a human being in all of this who's overwhelmed, scared, unfit, fucked in the head, burnt out, shitting themselves.
Also, how frustrated do I get on a daily basis that so everyone's realised that you have to put, we said, okay, we're a world filled with people who have lifestyle businesses, right? And we've acknowledged that you have to put people, whether you're like a multi-billion dollar CEO, whatever, or you're somebody who runs some sort of like massage table from your garage or whatever it is. Like, oh yeah, okay, you've got to look after yourself. And then everyone's like gone on like self-care, which is like, and they really ruined those terms for me because it's that real sissy instead of what it's actually about, which is like, sometimes it's doing hard things about yourself, like going to the gym. That is still self-care. Like self-care is not bubble baths and fluffy slippers, right?
No.
But also that people get all this advice from people who are like the Stephen Bartletts of the world. Great guy. Like, I really like him. I think some of the projects he's working on right now are fantastic. His Until project is what I'm super into right now. Seen that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, he's getting lots of rooms and he's putting like healthcare stuff, rent it by room, and doing the same with dentistry now, putting them all in the same space. And it's a really cool idea. Anyway, nice one, Steve. Sure he's listening. But you get to this point, I'm like, the advice that you give people in order to look after themselves and, be in business and stuff is totally unrelatable because, and I had this conversation and I had it the other day with a client where I was like, the things that you need to do to stay well and get successful and like this trajectory here, very different to what you do across here. But unfortunately, all of the podcasts in the world are like here. And I'm like, that's great, but what about the single mum running a business who's trying to also run a household, who's also trying to look after herself, who's also trying to turn a profit? About that person. What about the person who has like a really successful business and employs people and still has a family and wants to do stuff and is kind of like in the business and out of the business, or like, all those different scenarios, still on that upward trajectory, that people that are still growing in whatever, whether it's here to here or here to here, still different from this bit.
Yeah, you're a fan of Stephen Bartlett. Yeah, so we're a fan of Stephen Bartlett. If you're listening, Stephen, apologies for this. I'm part a bit. Okay, I get very, very intelligent, very articulate. I know where he's from, right? Because we're from the same kind of place, right? We grew up in the same kind of with similar sort of childhoods. But it doesn't resonate with me. And I think it doesn't resonate with me because, well, too many big words. I don't understand what you're saying a lot of the time. But no, that's not true. But it is a little bit ethereal. It is a little. A lot of it's very conceptual. I get that it's hugely successful, but the kind of advice or let's say motivation, inspiration, content that's probably the better thing. The type of content that really resonates with me is stuff that I can act on immediately. And that's, and those are generally the more kind of aggressive, ball busting go-getters like, Goggins and Joe Rogan and, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Love his books. Great. Well done, Arnold. Thanks for writing that. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, Arnold.
Send me a signed copy over, Arnold. And, The Rock, those, that sort of content I get is just easy to consume. There's some really good YouTubers as well. Lex Fitness, I watch. He's, really, really good. Who else do I watch a lot on YouTube? There's loads of biker guys and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I like my content delivered. You know, if I'm listening to a podcast, this will probably be 2 podcasts, by the way, because I couldn't listen for a whole hour.
Yeah.
I might just trim this down to 30 minutes. I think that's probably what I'll do.
30 minutes is the smart.
You know, punchy. When I look at a podcast, it's like 2.5 hours. I'm not listening to it. I'm just not.
I quite like it because I listen to it over a series of journeys. My favourite one at the moment is he's done now. Admittedly, though, do you know that famous New York divorce lawyer that's going around at the moment? I can't remember his name.
No. Well, I'm not in New York, and I'm not getting divorced.
Well, no, but he's like doing the rounds on the podcast and stuff, and he's written a book.
Oh, okay.
But I absolutely adore him. Like, what's his name? I can't remember. He was on one of the latest episodes of Diary of a CEO back in.
Hang on, let me bring up Diary of a CEO.
Hang
on, it's so famous now. All I have to do is write Diary of DOAC.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh no, that's apparently direct oral anticoagulants.
Oh yeah, no, that is also that.
Yeah. Look at that, Steve. You don't get on the first page on Google with that. Diary of a CEO.
Steve, who is definitely listening to this podcast.
Bit of advice there, Stephen. DOAC doesn't really work. Right. So is it the latest one?
No, it's what does it say? James Sexton.
Okay.
And he's America's top divorce lawyer and best-selling author of romantic advice books, How to Stay in Love, and If You're in My Office, It's Already Too Late. But he is a really good guy. Anyway, it's like 2.5 hours long. He's done 2 episodes with him, and they're both pretty much the same. So listen to one or the other, because
which is the shortest one? That's the one I'm listening. Whichever it is, that's the one I'm listening to.
Probably.
I sound like such a miserable bastard, isn't it?
Well, if the cat fits. I'm not saying anything. I think the latest one. What's the latest one? No, that 2 hours 44. So the first one was. I don't listen to it in one go though. But anyway, that's all just like nice thoughts and stuff like that. But you know, that I said to you recently that I'm actually really getting pissy with the amount of bullshit on the internet that's cerebral. And everyone's been like, I'm going to do this. And oh yeah, and I should get this in the headspace. And I'm like, do you know what? We've had enough of that. There was a period of time where we needed to do that. And I feel like definitely, again, over COVID, everyone had lots of thinking time. And I think a lot of people have not got off the thinking train. And I'm like, you need to get off. You need to do something.
Okay. I just heard a polite knock at my door. Hello, Amy? No, they've gone. I think it was Amy. Never mind. She's going to get her Botox done. Oh, sorry. Secret. Amy doesn't have Botox. She looks naturally that young.
You can cut that.
So, yeah. Sorry, yeah, with you. There has to come a point where stop. It's like, yeah, I get it. Think, plan, do. Mm-hmm. Right? My philosophy on everything. Think, plan, do. You have to do all of that. Yep. There's lots of thinking that goes on. Yep. There's not a lot of planning that goes on. And there's fuck all doing.
Yeah, it's like, you know, bar chart of things that how I spend my time. Like thinking way up here, planning here, doing. I mean, there's tumbleweed on up the chart.
Yeah. And what gives you the results? Was it Thomas Edison, I believe he said that action gives you the power.
So did he not did he not also invent the light bulb? Which is
he did. Apparently, he didn't.
Well, it's just quite funny because action of switching on the light switch makes the light bulb come on. So action gives you power.
Yeah, apparently Elon Musk did. Right. Oh, so you don't invent anything, but you just take credit for it.
Oh, okay, right, got it. Okay.
Yeah. I bet he's listening. I'll get sued.
He's definitely listening. Him, Arnold, and Steve are all listening.
Yeah.
Probably.
They're all. Yeah. Well, Arnold's happy. Arnold's like, yeah, I like this guy. He said nice things about me.
He's in his kitchen, feeding his little rescue donkeys. I love Arnold. I've never met him.
Elon's sharpening his lawyers, and Stephen's like, well, I won't listen to him again. He's a twat.
He's got other cerebral podcasts to do anyway.
Exactly, he has. Right. So I've got some work to do.
Yeah, you have. I have as well. Actually, I'm having an easier day today, but I've got some.
Good for you. Are you having I'm doing podcasts.
It's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I'm doing podcasts today. I've got a lot of content to create for my new amazing Launchpad program. You've got some content to do. You need to redo the goal setting section.
Yeah, I know. I do.
Cool. I
Okay.
Right.
See you later.
Farewell.
Bye.